When I was about 8 or 9 years old, something extraordinary happened. Something I didn't understand then, but it would shape the rest of my life. I remember walking quietly into my room one afternoon, closing the door so no one would see me. The sun was setting, painting my walls in a soft orange glow. I took my mother's shawl from the chair, spread it carefully on the floor, and knelt down. Without knowing why, I placed my forehead on the fabric, just like I had once seen someone do on TV, and I stayed like that. The room was silent, except for my heartbeat. I didn't know what to say, so I whispered, "God, I know you're there. Please, don't forget me." I wasn't a Muslim then, but in that moment, peace wrapped around me like warm light. It was the first time I felt close to something greater than the world. I grew up in a mixed family. My mother is Italian, born into a devoted Catholic home. My father, though raised in faith, didn't really practice. Religion was just a tradition, something we acknowledged on Christmas, maybe Easter, and then forgot. I loved the beauty of the church, the candles, the hymns, but deep down, something didn't sit right. I would look at the statues of Jesus and Mary and wonder why we prayed to them instead of directly to God. One day when I was 12, I asked the priest about it. He smiled and said, "It's a mystery of faith, my child. You must simply believe." But I couldn't. My heart didn't want mystery. It wanted truth. As I got older, I began searching silently. I read books, studied philosophy, and even tried meditating, but nothing gave me that same peace I had felt that day as a child. I started thinking maybe I was strange. Maybe I was looking for something that didn't exist. When I turned 18, I moved to London for my studies. It was a different world, busy, diverse, alive. For the first time, I saw Muslim women in hijabs and niqabs walking proudly through the streets. I couldn't help staring. They looked so confident, like they knew who they were. I didn't understand them, but I couldn't look away either. Later, I met my future husband. He was kind, calm, and deeply respectful. Qualities I wasn't used to in men. He never raised his voice, never flirted, never spoke badly of others. I once asked him, "Why do you pray so much? Doesn't it ever feel like too much?" He smiled gently and said, "No, prayer isn't a burden. It's how I breathe." That answer stayed with me. I began watching him pray. There was no music, no ritual performance, just stillness. I remember standing quietly by the door once, watching him bow and prostrate and thinking, he's not praying to impress anyone. He's talking to his Creator. Curiosity turned into fascination. I started reading about Islam online, then borrowed an English Qur'an. I remember holding it in my hands for the first time. It felt heavy, but alive. When I opened it and began to read, I was stunned. The language wasn't poetic fantasy. It was direct, powerful, like a voice speaking to my soul. The Quran spoke of mercy, justice, patience, and humility. It told stories I thought I knew. Adam, Noah, Moses, Mary. But this time they weren't distant figures in paintings. They were real, human, chosen. And then I read about Maryam, Mary, the mother of Jesus, and I cried. Islam honored her more than any religion I had ever known. Then one night, I came across Surah Al-Ikhlas, greater than, say, He is Allah, one. Allah, the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, nor is there to him any equivalent. Those words pierced my heart. For years I had struggled to understand the Trinity, to make sense of God being three and one at the same time. But here, in just 4 short lines, everything became clear. God is one, simple, perfect, eternal. From that night, I couldn't stop thinking about Islam. I started watching lectures, reading stories of people who converted, and I felt myself drawn closer. Yet fear followed me. What would my family think? What would my mother say? Would they see me as lost? For months I fought an inner war. Every time I read the Qur'an, my heart found peace. One afternoon, I gathered my courage and visited a mosque in East London. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. I wore a long coat and a scarf. As I stepped inside, I smelled the soft scent of musk and carpet. The women smiled at me with such warmth that I instantly felt safe. After the prayer, one of them asked softly, "Are you here to learn about Islam?" I nodded, my eyes full of tears. She smiled and took my hands, saying, "When your heart is ready, all you have to do is say the Shahada." My lips trembled. I whispered after her, "Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." I bear witness, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. As soon as the words left my mouth, I felt something break, or maybe something open. It was like a flood of light washing through me. I cried uncontrollably, not out of sadness but relief, pure relief. For the first time in my life, I felt free. That was 2 years ago. I've been married for nearly 10 years now. Islam didn't change who I am. It revealed who I always was. It didn't take me away from my family or my culture. It simply gave everything meaning. I still love my mother, my language, my Italian roots, but now every part of me has purpose. Sometimes my mother still asks, "Why Islam?" And I tell her, because it gave me what the world couldn't, peace with God. When I look back, I see that little girl again, the one who spread her mother's shawl on the floor, whispering to a God she didn't yet know. She wasn't playing, she was searching. And now, she's finally home. Today, when I look back on my journey, I realize something powerful. Islam didn't change me into someone else. It brought me back to who I really was. It taught me how to live with honesty, how to love people without conditions, and how to carry God in my heart in every single moment. Every time I place my forehead on the ground, I feel the same peace I felt as a little girl. But now I know who I'm speaking to. I'm no longer searching in the dark. I'm walking in the light. And if someone asks me what Islam truly gave me, my answer is simple. It gave me clarity. It gave me purpose. It gave me peace with God. And that peace is home.